My guest today is a Super Bowl champion, former first-round pick, and the holder of the Ole Miss school records for rushing touchdowns, carries, yards, points, and 100-yard games. The Deuce. Deuce McAllister joins me today. Deuce, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is terrific to have you here, and we really appreciate it. So, Deuce, you were the 23rd overall pick in the 2001 NFL Draft. The Saints were coming off a 10-6 record, but it seemed like they were missing that one piece, and you got them all the way to the second round in 2001, and eventually you'd lead the Saints' resurgence that would lead to a title. How invigorating and inspiring was it to play in a city like New Orleans?
Well, to play in New Orleans was pretty special. I mean, and for me, going into my senior season, I was really probably ranked as a top 5 prospect. And so, obviously, I didn't get picked in the top 5. I was the 23rd pick. So I was just pleased and happy to be able to go to New Orleans and relieved at that point as well. I'm thinking, why New Orleans at this point? But because they had Ricky Williams as the running back, they had just gotten as well, probably 2 seasons ago. But at the end of the day, I was like, hey, look, whatever these guys need me to do, I'm going to do it. And so for me, I just wanted to go out and contribute. I wanted to be able to go out and contribute. New Orleans, the city was fun. The team, was a part of the community. The fans, they were always behind us. And so my job was to be able to contribute and figure out a way to help this team to be able to win. And it took us a while, but we finally got over the hump to be able to win the Super Bowl.
So obviously Hurricane Katrina a few years later in 2005 had a huge impact on you, obviously playing for the Saints and, moving to Lulling in Louisiana. Talk about how important that first game back at the Superdome was for you and kind of where that ranks amongst your football memories.
The reopening of the Dome back in 2006, we opened with the Atlanta Falcons. It was a really, really special game. I mean, because we went into the Superdome before that Friday. It was a Monday night game. We went into the Superdome for the first time to get the emotions out. I mean, because when you go back and you look at some of the videos, some of the photos of what happened in the Superdome, it being kind of a refugee point for people to be able to go and sleep, people to be able to go and get equipment, medics, different things of that nature. And then for it to host a football game, it was really moving. So for us to get the emotions out of the way that Friday, that's what we did. Coach Payton always referenced, the stage is already set. Now you just have to go out and complete it and win the game. And we were able to do that, being successful and winning that game. And, that is outside of winning the Super Bowl in 2009, that is probably one of the top moments that I have as a player.
You run the Catch-22 Foundation, and I remember hearing you say how important it is for athletes to give back to their community. What inspired you to start this foundation? Because a lot of people because I saw you've donated to Make-A-Wish, you've donated to other foundations, but how important is it to you to do something that's kind of bigger than football and be able to give back to a community like New Orleans by doing the Catch-22 Foundation?
Yeah, you talk about, Boys and Girls Club, you talk about some of the other organizations that you work with on a daily basis. For me, I think the most important part of it was having the platform that I do as a former athlete, well, at the time as an athlete, but even as a former athlete, it's just to give some of those kids the hope that they can also possibly, play in the professionals, but if they can't, they can still get an education. And so to be able to expose them to different avenues of life, to be able to expose them to different things that they can accomplish in life, that's what I wanted to be able to do. So, one of the programs we host is Deuce Days. Well, Deuce Days is partnering with the company or business to be able to show them their operations. You talked about the Superdome. Well, there's more than just games that happen on Sundays at the Superdome. There's a management company that, manages the operations for the Superdome. That may be something that a student is inspired. So to be able to have them to go and see different things of that nature, maybe that is what they need, or maybe that's something that they, in life as they get older, that they want to do.
Let's talk about broadcasting a little bit, because obviously you're not just here to play around. You're here to make something happen. Why is Deuce McAllister the next big thing to happen to the broadcasting world?
Well, I just want to be the next big Deuce McAllister. I think for me, it's not being the next big thing. I think for me, it's just being the best Deuce McAllister I can be. And I've been fortunate enough to be doing some broadcasting previously to now. And for me, it's just sharpening my skills. I want to be able to get some critique, be able to pick up some more knowledge, some things in my toolbox to make, whenever I go on air, that I am doing it the right way. Whenever I go to interview a coach, a player, that I am doing it the right way. So I think it's important for me to be able to continue to learn and sharpen my skills.
What lessons did you learn from your time on the gridiron that you can kind of apply and bring over to the broadcast booth?
Well, just like you had your teammates in on the football field, you have them, behind the camera, so to speak. I think, just the producers that are able to help you, the stat guys that are able to help you, your co-hosts that's able to help you. There's a lot that goes into making a production, and so maybe they don't get the recognition as the host or the co-host does, but they definitely deserve it because the show wouldn't happen without them being involved.
What do you think is the biggest challenge facing you as an athlete who's trying to transition into a broadcaster?
I think one of the biggest challenges is you don't know everything. You don't know everything. The landscape is always changing daily. There's new products that come out. The digital world is changing. So for me, it's trying to catch up, to be current, but stay current and stay ahead of the curve. And so, being able to have mentors that have been doing it for a long time, being able to bounce ideas off of those people and individuals, I think. And so, yes, I know the game of football, but I can still learn more about the game. And as I introduce it more and more to fans, as far as my knowledge is concerned, I think that's what, I have to continue to try to do.
You obviously have a very unique perspective from your days on the field. You were a Pro Bowler. You were, in essence, in one of the most dangerous positions in all of sports. Why do you think that unique perspective that you've had makes you fit to be a broadcaster? And what can you take from that unique perspective? Because we talk about quarterbacks becoming broadcasters because they're like field generals. Why does your position give you a unique vantage point?
Well, for me, I wanted to know just as much as that quarterback knew. I wanted to be the second eyes and ears for him to be able to be successful. And so when he was giving signals and calls to the receivers, I wanted to know what those signals and calls meant. So I knew for me to be successful, the other 10 guys had to be executing their job. And when a guy was not doing that, then how do we recover? How do we still make this play successful? And so I don't want to just give the viewpoint of a former running back or what the running back is doing or what he's seeing. I want to be able to tell you this is why they ran the play, this is how they ran the play, and this is why this play was either successful or a failure. And so I think the quarterbacks, that's what they study when they are in the game as far as playing, and that's why they have a lot of success. But I think, any player, if he understands not only what he is doing, but the concept of the play and what the other 10 guys are responsible for, then, not only for his playing days, but after, he can be successful.
Deuce, thank you for joining me today, and obviously, best of luck down the road.
No problem. Thank you.